Hey guys, happy Friday to you. Dr. Belk here. Today we're going to go over how to roll out your lats, which is actually very important that gets done. Most of the time, even myself, I forget to stretch these and roll these, and they just kind of start to get a little tense. I was feeling it today while I was working out, especially on the right side here. Especially for surfers, when we're paddling in the water, those lats can have a tendency to get fairly tight and worked pretty hard. So it's good to roll those out periodically. They're not the most enjoyable muscle grip to roll out, but they definitely do feel much better afterwards. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take, what I like to do, I have a very hard, like the PVC pipe. That's a little bit uncomfortable, or a lot uncomfortable. I like to use the harder foam rollers. I actually borrowed this one from Dan from the gym, so I will bring it back down, I promise. But get a nice foam roller, maybe the harder one if you can. And what you're gonna do both sides. You're gonna start out just tucking it underneath, basically right underneath the armpit. And what you're gonna do with this is just kind of roll up and down a little bit like we kind of normally do, and kind of get to that, what I like to call an exploratory roll. You want to find out what areas are kind of tender and sore. So I'm just kind of exploring, and I've got about 3 or 4 of them that are pretty uncomfortable. So now I have a mental note of where those are located. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to kind of work my way up. Now, working my way up means going up the body this way. In order to do that the easiest, I'm gonna move my body the opposite direction, which is down, right? So I'm gonna start here. So I'm basically just underneath the scapula and a little bit, I guess, inferior to the armpit, just underneath the armpit here, okay? So I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna maintain that downward pressure. Yeah, and I'm at that first spot right now that's pretty, upset at me and pretty tight. So I'm gonna hold that spot like we typically always do. Again, we're gonna hold for about 30 to 60 seconds on that spot. Just for video purposes, I'm not gonna do that right this second. Then we're gonna keep that downward pressure, right? So don't let off that pressure. Keep that downward pressure, and then we're gonna roll slowly, keep that pressure down, 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 down. Yeah, and I'm at my next spot. So it didn't move too far, but I'm right there at that next spot. Sometimes when we're doing this, right, the neck can get a little fatigued and tired. So if that's the case, you can do a couple of things. Number one, you can use that upper arm and just hold that neck to take a little bit of pressure off of there. Number two, if you want, you can comfortably let that neck just kind of fall down. Now, if that's painful, obviously, when we bring that neck down, we probably don't want to do that, and maybe support it a little bit. And then, yeah, I'm gonna roll to the next spot, which is right there. That spot's probably for me right now the most painful. So that's pretty common. The higher up that you go, you're gonna probably get some more tenderness, just because that muscle belly starts to get a little bit larger as you roll upwards. So there's gonna be more tendency to have some soreness and some inflammation. Careful that when you roll up to the top of that area, that you don't jam that shoulder joint and jam that neck and start to compress the tissues. And then pretty much as soon as that arm starts to get lifted off, you can kind of see here, kind of at the end of that area. Now I'm kind of getting more into the tricep, which is fine if you have some tricep issues, but that's kind of a different area. So once you've rolled on out and you've kind of done those 30 to 60 second holds in each spot, you can kind of go back again and just roll back on over a couple of times. Usually feels pretty good. And then come on up off of there. And you'll typically notice at that point, like just from doing that for me right now, I'm able to raise that arm a lot easier and freer up overhead. And before I started, like I had some discomfort. It was probably only like maybe a 3 or 4 on a kind of discomfort scale out of 10. But literally just from that rolling, it feels almost like I had nothing going on this morning. So very valuable. Obviously you want to do both sides there. You can over roll, so you don't want to roll too much and do this continuously. I would say if it's really bothering you, if you rolled out maybe a couple of times a day, you did that for 3 or 4 days, I think any kind of inflammation, soreness, lactic acid that's built up there should substantially reduce and lower. If it's really painful when you're doing that and the pain is increasing significantly, then you might want to consult with someone to stop that, because it might actually be an injury to that area, whether it's the mid back, the neck, lower back, or what have you. So if it hurts a lot, like significant, then you got to be a little bit extra careful. But if it's just painful and sore, typically that is really common, especially if you've never rolled these out before. It's definitely going to be full of probably some lactic acid, some inflammation. So give it a shot. Let me know if you have any questions. And I bet you if you do that, that will help quite a bit. Okay? All right, talk to you next time. Bye.